Yo, what up, though? This is your boy C. Dot to the B. Dot coming at y'all once again with another review. So, today we're going to be talking about something from the 90s. It's going to be a little different than your average Missing the 90s episode because this is something I never really talked about before on this show. So, it was in my head, you know what I'm saying? For some reason, it just popped up in my head today. And I just wanted to come on here and talk about it because Goosebumps. This was, to me, one of the darker episodes growing up. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure if y'all remember this episode. You probably do because there was a lot of Goosebumps fans out there. And, like I said, this one, it got me. But I haven't seen this episode in years. But like I said, it just popped up in my head. So I wanted to come on here and talk about it. But before we do, I would like to give a shout out to all the mothers out there for Mother's Day. Really appreciate you guys, you know what I'm saying, for holding it down when you had to and giving us life. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't be here. And I appreciate you, especially to my own mother. Happy Mother's Day. I love you. So, let's get started with this review. So, this story right here, The House of No Return, it was actually in a 1994 Goosebumps book, with short stories. It was called Tales to Give You Goosebumps, and this was one of the stories. Now, this episode here, it's just as long as the others, but it seems like it's a short episode. You know what I'm saying? Because of the premise. So it's about this kid named Chris, right? And he gets up with these three kids who calls themselves Danger Incorporated. And I kind of thought it was a lame name, even back then. You know what I'm saying? But what they wanted him to do was go up into this like abandoned house. It was supposed to be haunted. And, at first, Chris, he wasn't taking it serious. And he thought, you know what I'm saying, it was just a joke. So he didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? He walked away. So he went home and he had a conversation with his mother. But then, not long after that, he decides to go back out and meet with the kids again because the only way he was getting into a group is if he spends 1 hour in this abandoned house. So they all go back up to the house again. And this time, they're really trying to get Chris to go in, but once again, he changed his mind. Now, this is where the story gets dark, right here. It didn't take long at all, but this is where it gets dark, and also this is where these three kids become little bastards. Because what happens is they snatch Chris up, right? And they're dragging him up to the house, forcing him to go in. And they pretty much locked him in the house against his will. So they basically kidnapped him. And so now he's in the house, you know what I'm saying, wandering around until he starts hearing these voices coming from upstairs. But he doesn't see anything. He just hears a male and a female voice. And then it was like, we're coming down to you. You know what I'm saying? We're coming down. That got me, you know what I'm saying, as a kid. You know what I mean? Like when I heard that, I was like, oh, because like I said, this episode was dark, man. And so the kids outside, they were pretty much timing him. And Chris was begging to be let out. But he had 55 minutes left before they was gonna let him out. You know what I'm saying? So what happened was after this, the time limit was up. And so they opened the door to let him out, but he was nowhere around. And next thing you know, these three kids start hearing the same voices that Chris did earlier. And so this time, instead of just hearing the voices, you saw it was a couple. It was two people, right? Coming down the stairs. And so the three kids decided to ask these ghosts or whatever they was, these apparitions, where Chris was. And they told him, they told them that Chris left. And so they were floored at this point. You know what I'm saying? But yo, they really became horrified when when apparitions told them the reason why. So they wanted Chris to stay, but Chris made a deal with them saying that if you let me leave, then there's three other kids that's going to come in and you can have them. And so this is where it really, really, really turns it up to 11. So you think because it's a children's show, like a little children's horror show, the kids are going to find some way, somehow, to get up out of there. But next thing you know, when the ghosts were closing in on these three kids, it cuts to, like, you know what I'm saying, the house, and then you just hear screams, and that was pretty much it. And yo, like I said, man, the ending was ambiguous because you never really knew what happened to him in the show. You know what I'm saying? So when I first saw this episode, it stuck with me for a long time. But it wasn't bad. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it seemed like it was a short one, but it was just as long as the other episodes. Um, but if I had to rate this episode, I would definitely give it a 1 to 5. I'll give it a 3.5. The only reason why is because the scene where they were dragging Chris up to the house, forcing him to go in, you heard Chris saying, "Help, help." You know what I'm saying? Like his acting was kind of wooden. So the acting wasn't that great, but it still didn't deter me from liking the story. You know what I'm saying? I can deal with bad acting as long as the story is good. So yeah, this episode definitely gets a 3.5 out of 5 for me. And that is my review for The House of No Return. But stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back here this Wednesday with another movie review, and I will catch y'all then. All right? Peace.